Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Former world champion fighter Roberto Garcia and his brother, current champion Mikey Garcia, put ESPN on blast. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We are working. Now, we're closing 2017. It's December. And since January, I've been saying the same thing to you guys. This was not going to be a good year for a lot of you. And God willing, I think that's been the case. You've seen channels disappear or get no traction, not getting views, writers who have no respect in the game because they don't want to tell the truth. Tell the truth. Now, shout out to Fight Hype. The link is in the description to their video. Check them out. Give them the view for that. And it was so great. They were in the Garcia gym and speaking with former world champion, I think two-time world champion, Robert Garcia, as well as his brother, who looks like he's moving around and stuff, current champion at lightweight. That's Mikey Garcia, undefeated fighter. And they talk about this Dan Rayfield tweet. Dan Rayfield said, in case you live on a rock, and I guess haven't been paying attention to past videos I made, ESPN's Dan Rayfield, he said that this version of Lomachenko that we just seen beat Guillermo Rigondeaux, which he did, he outclassed him totally and made Rigondeaux quit, right? He said this version of Lomachenko at 130 would give Floyd Mayweather hell and maybe even beat him. You know what I mean? Like, it's up for debate. Like, he's just so phenomenal, right? Now, I did a video yesterday, another undefeated top-level talent who's going to get a title shot in a division he hasn't even fought in. That's how good he is, because he got that ranking because he was undisputed in his former division. That's Terence Crawford. I did a video about it. Check it on the channel. He says, y'all got to stop with this stupid talk. End quote. And he says, Floyd was a monster at 130. Put some respect on that man's name, right? Now you got the Garcias, again, fighters, former world champion, I believe two-time world champion, don't quote me on it, Robert Garcia, and then his brother, who's undefeated champion, very technical, who has kind of been linked to the Lomachenko name. Like, people would love to see that. I mean, in fact, Lomachenko called Mikey Garcia out, and they just totally blast Dan Rayfield and ESPN, and they're like, nah, I don't agree with that. I mean, in this interview, if you guys go watch it, please watch it. In the interview, Robert Garcia is just like, he's like shaking his head. He's like, nah. He said, that's just ESPN and Dan Rayfield sucking Bob Arum's and Lomachenko's balls. That's his words directly. He said they're sucking their balls, and you see Mikey chime in. He's like, no, Lomachenko's on ESPN. Dan Rayfield works for ESPN. So they're just trying to like overly promote him and stuff like that, and tell the public, like, just what the same stuff that I've been telling you, force feed the public. And it's just phenomenal that when I say this stuff, I'm racist, everybody hates Ego, and I have something against Lomachenko, but you have people in the industry who are corroborating the stuff I've said. And nobody here, just for the record, nobody here has disrespected Lomachenko in such a way as to take away credit and say he's a bum or he can't scrap. Nobody has done that, including me, the Garcias, Terence Crawford. Everybody acknowledges that Lomachenko is a good fighter. However, when you say he will beat a legend and a guy who had some of his best work, Gennaro Hernandez and Chico Diego Corrales, dominant 5 knockdown victory that Dan Rayfield was there for before he worked for ESPN, and you start making those comparisons, drawing those comparisons, that's when people have to draw the line in the sand. Like, yo, let this retired guy who's, I think he's in Thailand right now, Floyd Mayweather, let him enjoy his life. You know what I mean? Why are you comparing him to Floyd Mayweather, which is obviously a ruse? Because Manny Pacquiao was at 130, right? And he's an active fighter. Why are you not saying the version of Lomachenko that just beat Guillermo Rigondeaux would make Pacquiao quit? You know what I'm saying? But you want to do it with the guy that you've never really truly given credit. You know what I mean? ESPN, especially Dan Rafael, never gave Mayweather the type of praise that he's giving Lomachenko. He's giving Mayweather praise because he had to. He had to because Floyd was so good and so proven for 2 decades that if he didn't say he was #1 pound for pound, he would look even dumber than he already does. But once again, like I said before, the proof is in the pudding. And how come professional fighters, current champions, former champions, a guy like Terence Crawford who just became undisputed, the last person to do it before Crawford, just so you guys to put in perspective, was probably Jermaine Taylor or Bernard Hopkins, 2 guys who are pretty much retired, right? Just to put in perspective of how often it doesn't happen in boxing that someone clears out a whole division and becomes undisputed. Nobody's agreeing with ESPN. Nobody is saying, you know what, Dan Rafael is right. Maybe some fans in the YouTube stratosphere, but I'm talking about professional fighters, undefeated fighters, skillful guys. Nobody's saying. I have yet to see it. You guys peep game. Pay attention in the comment section. This is my open challenge. Send me a Fight Hype or whoever's link who interviewed a skillful professional fighter, undefeated fighter, a guy who's like has the momentum of a Mikey Garcia who beat Broner, knocked out Dejan Zlatisin, and Terence Crawford who became undisputed, who agrees on tape and says the version that beat Rigondeaux of Lomachenko would possibly beat Floyd Mayweather and give him hell. No one's really making those comparisons except for the main culprit, people who are affiliated with Lomachenko, who have a reason to benefit. I don't know if they're getting paid extra money to just say whatever. I don't know, but they're at least on the side where, like, again, if Lomachenko's fighting on ESPN, like Mikey Garcia brought up, but just go listen to the interview. The Garcias aren't buying it, and they're like, man, there were just so many beasts at that division. How could you say that? You had Casamayor, you had Chico Corrales, and Robert Garcia made a point that I liked a lot. He says if you look at the current like champions, a lot of the guys are good. And keep in mind, Robert Garcia is Mexican American, right? Miguel Berchelt is Mexican, right? I don't think he has any issue or beef or hates the style of Miguel Berchelt, but he said himself, he was like, nah. He said, look at the current champions, and if Miguel Berchelt were to fight Chico Corrales, he says, I don't see him beating him. And to make that even more fucked up, add insult to injury, Robert Garcia fought in those divisions. He fought at 130 before. And like I said, he's a 2-time former world champion. So he knows firsthand the Mayweather experience because he was an active fighter at the time. And you know what I'm saying? And he fought some of those guys. So he knows the history of the division because he was a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And he says, man, yeah, no disrespect, but he said, I think I would have beat Miguel Berchelt. You know what I mean? He said, I really do. I think I could have beat him. I would have beat him. I don't know, but I think I would have. You know what I'm saying? And he's a part of that history. So this is what I'm talking about, people. You got people who are very experienced, current, former world champions, and nobody agrees with this stuff that's being said. And this is what I told you about people. Lomachenko's good. You can say whatever you want about me. Lomachenko's good, but people are stacking it. He's up against it based on the level of exaggeration at the point where you only have 11 fights, to the point where you can't make those comparisons. You can't compare him to a guy who's 50-0 with 20 years of experience. You can't compare him to anything Pacquiao's done when he's moved up 8 weight classes and he has 65 plus fights or whatever, right? Here lies the problem. You know what I mean? And like, again, when I say this stuff, I'm criminal and I have some agenda Okay, what's Terence Crawford's agenda? I've seen him take pictures with Lomachenko. I don't think he has an issue. Mikey Garcia, Robert Garcia, you know what I mean? It's just, they're saying the same things. And like I said, find people to agree with the lunacy that comes from Dan Rayfield's tweets and stuff. Like I said, Dan Rayfield's not even an in-shape dude to the point that he looks like he could do anything that any of these fighters can do. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a fact. So watch the interview. The Garcias also talk about Lomachenko's resume. They're like, man, like you're not beating the guys like Corrales and Castillo at 35 and stuff like that. He said you fought smaller guys and good guys, decent guys, but it's, you know what I mean, it's all relative to who you fought. Same thing that I've said, you know what I mean? So it's just funny to see these comparisons from actual people who know what the fuck they're talking about. And I agree with that. Lomachenko, he's on a roll. Good performances, he's skilled, he's talented. But like I said, when you start creating your own history and disrespecting legends, and that's exactly what Robert Garcia said. He said, yeah, that is disrespectful to Floyd, right? And the thing is, the reason I respect the Garcias is because Robert Garcia was in opposite corners of Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? When Maidana had 2 fights, he was the trainer. So he's, you know what I mean, he has somewhat of a rivalry with Floyd Mayweather, or at least at the point in time he was going up against and trying to find a good game plan for his fighter, who did extremely well, especially in the first fight, to beat Floyd Mayweather. So I just don't see why a person like that would have, like, he hasn't always said things that are favorable of Floyd Mayweather. It's like AKA like he's just a Floyd groupie, where he's always, because I remember when the glove situation when Maidana came up, he was like, yeah, Floyd doesn't want to fight us with a glove. Why can't we fight with the Cleto Reyes glove? Why can't we use these? You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he's just always in Mayweather's favor, per se. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, he just co-signs everything Mayweather. So that's what makes him real to me, because he could still draw the line in the sand and say, hey, fair is fair. Don't disrespect the legends. And I respect that. So like I said, Lomachenko's good, but let him be good and let him earn his history without disrespecting people from history. Checkmate. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.